Okay, guys, so welcome in. It's another Monday night, so that can only mean one thing. It's a Scrapping Irish Monday night live, and tonight I've got snobby scrap picker who's graciously said that he'll give me 28 minutes and 6 seconds of his valuable time this evening. So we better make the most of these 28 minutes and 6 seconds, guys. So I'll just get off and say hi to Jason Hughes, Dusty Blonde Vlogs, AJB Gardening, P Gardening. Scotty Daniels is in the chat. Let me see who else. Ali Mack, great to see you in. Shark Scrappers in, saying hi to everyone. Let me have a look and see. Raphael Scrappers made it in. Thanks, Raphael, for being there. Pooh's mate is here. And I think that's it so far. Braveheart Scrappers got in as well. So first off, to the moderators in the chat, if there's any, Barry West, welcome. If there's any inappropriate going on, you have full permission to remove anyone. Because again, as I say, this show, as people will know, it goes out at 8 p.m. here in Ireland, and it goes out at 3 p.m. in America and stuff like that. So there might be younger viewers in, stuff like that. So we'll try and keep it clean, keep it about scrap talk if we can, and we can veer off later in the show about other stuff. But we'll try and keep it in scrap talk and stuff like that as much as possible, because that's what the show is about. I'm just going to set up my phone so I can get my live chat up, and we can make sure I've got the latest chat when I'm getting up there, and put it on live. And I just want to go into my studio and make sure that everything is clicked in there. So moderators, just keep an eye if there's any trolls or anything like that. We get them removed as quick as possible. So everything seems to be good. So what I'll do, without wasting much more time, we'll bring up the guest, because he's probably taken this time that I'm doing now out of his 28 minutes. So I might be already cut down on time. So guys, welcome Snobby Scrap Picker to the chat. Snobby, hello. Great to have you on board. As I said already, thanks for giving up your 28 minutes and 6 seconds of your valuable time this evening.
Well, 26 now.
I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so first off, for anyone who's not familiar with you, just give a quick description of what your channel is about.
In general, in a nutshell, scrap metal. Sometimes a little bit of my daily life, as it were, or a little clip of it, what I sort of get up to, what I might be doing, or what I've had to put up with as a sort of family man. You know, not too much of that sort of stuff, but it's nice to share that, as long as I have the permission from, obviously, Dusty and my daughter and that sort of thing. But in general, my channel's about scrap metal, recycling, that sort of thing.
So hence why you're on here tonight. I usually try and get scrappers on and stuff like that on the show. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to ask the question that I ask everyone's in a scrap game. How did you get into scrapping in the first stage?
Well, I would imagine it was probably around about 1973, 74, when I was a wee child. Have you got plenty of time?
I have 26 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Listen, it's always been around, yeah, from a very small age, you know, not like the scale that we all see some scrap stuff. I'm talking about, you know, the average guy that collects a little bit of scrap metal and then turns it in at Christmas time or something like that, just to give an extra little bit of cash to help out get over the Christmas period. Because we all know that time of year, you spend a lot more money than normal.
Yeah.
So doing that as a youngster with my dad and my granddad, you know, on that side of the family, because the other side of my family, they were posh. And I wish I actually had some photos of the wedding when my mum and dad actually got married. Because when you look at these pictures, you can definitely see the class difference between my dad's side of the family that were, what can I say, not very rich, and my mum's side that were wealthy, as it were.
So you had your upper class and your middle class.
Million miles apart. Miles apart. I mean, if we go back to the era, say, you would know probably, like the craze back in the sort of 50s and 60s, You know, when my parents got married, would have been in like 1969, something like that, 1970. You know, when you see the elegant women wearing all the plush fur and stuff like that.
yes,
That's what mum's side was like. But my granddad's side and my dad's side, completely different. It was like, you know, second-hand shirt, second-hand blazer type thing, you know, and that type of era.
The hand-me-downs, the stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe even sort of charity shop, you know, charity shop clothing to a degree, you know, rag and bone man sort of clothing, you know, because they actually used to have a coal delivered like that, coal, whatever you want to call it, you know, big chunks of it, you know, where on the other side of the family it's slightly different. But anyway, we're sort of getting off of track there. But that is just to sort of give you a little bit of
where you came from on it.
Yes, so basically my granddad was a boiler house man in a big hospital that later turned into sort of like almost a geriatric type hospital where old people had lost their minds and stuff like that, and he used to obviously fire up the boilers and be the maintenance guy there, or the boiler man, as it were.
Yeah.
And so there was always scrap metal involved there all the time, wasn't there? You know, even hospital equipment that becomes redundant almost. You know, that gets put into a pile, and if no one claims it very, very quickly, then it disappears, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know? Exactly. Yeah. So someone gets use of it.
Whether it's NHS material or not, if it's really past its, you know, prime use, it's then stored away. I mean, you know, you're talking all general maintenance. When that's how it developed. See, more and more maintenance became on my granddad. You know, where windows might have needed changing, and you know, there'd be brass fittings on the windows, you know, and all that type of thing. You know, it just sort of goes on, and it's always there, isn't it? The brass, the copper, the aluminium, it's always there.
Yeah, the lead, stuff like that. Yeah,
lead as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when we go back, if we go back sort of like, I'm 50 now, we go back 45 years ago, the scrap was completely different. Although it's still brass and copper, but the availability of it is lots more.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. I'm not going to delve too. I'm going to ask you about that in a few minutes. So what I'm going to move you on to now to is your YouTube channel. What made you go from just doing your scrapping and stuff like that and your everyday and decide to put it on YouTube? What made you do that?
Well, because I felt that I had some things I could share. When I first pressed that button, that YouTube button that I'd had for many, many years, and never even touched it. And I touched it and realised there's a whole world of, it's like an inside library almost. Mm-hmm. You know, anything you want to know, anything you want to know about, apart from Google, of course, but there's actually videos attached as well. And sometimes even Google would sort of try to send me to a YouTube video, which I never ever done then either. And then, you know, I started watching scrapping channels because I had an interest in that. Well, I had two actually. One was fishing and one was scrapping, you know, because obviously I've got both.
Yeah.
And I see that there was a hell of a lot of scratchy bitchiness in the fishing sort of circuit, as it were. You know, my fish is bigger than your fish and, you know, stuff. So I did sort of carry on watching the fishing and then got more involved with watching scrapping channels. And, you know, go back, I think there's a few more today than what there was, say, 2 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah, even a year ago, I'm looking at every week I kind of come across either at least 2 channels a month I'm coming across at the moment, you know?
Yeah, and more channels are, you know, more and more scrap channels. They want to share what they know and what they do. So that was it. I thought, well, you know what, I could do some of this. And it's just progressed from there, really. I mean, you've got to bear in mind, I never had a computer. I never had anything, just a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm here, and I've got a Dell Optiplex 7010.
Yeah.
A 27-inch monitor.
You got your microphones, your cameras, the lot.
Oh, sorry, I'm that sort of rookie. I forgot to get my microphone. Someone you can hear me. And a microphone.
But like that brings me on then to the next part of the question is, where do you see? I love the hat there, by the way. That's a very snazzy hat you have there.
A bit like
yeah, do you get that out of Rag and Bone Man? No.
some guy in Ireland, the south of Ireland as well, I believe.
Yeah. One of them gang. But where do you see your YouTube? What's your hopes, or where do you see your YouTube channel going? Like, what's your hopes for it? And
well, we all have different styles and different ways and different thoughts and everything, don't we, on YouTube? And you've probably heard me say this before, but maybe some in the chat haven't. And that was it was just to get to the one magical 1,000 subscribers first, okay? Because that's even changed now. That's so difficult now for people to do that. Extremely difficult, unless you have a content that is very popular, and you can see someone get 1,000 subscribers in 2 months. No problem. With one shout out, one good shout out from a very big channel, overnight, you can get there.
And how did you find the grind to get to 1,000? Did you find it easy to get there, or did you find it a difficult thing to get there? How did you find it?
Well, you can spend many hours on various different types of channels, subscribing to sort of basically dead subscribers, as it were. And even that way, spending many hours, that can still take a good year. 10 to 12 months that can take to get to 1,000. And maybe today, even longer for some people, unless you got really good content like jumping in dumpsters, dumpster diving, and all that sort of thing. I've seen that happen. I've seen that. But as to where I see my channel going, just organic. Just let it naturally do its thing. I'm not connected with any Facebook group or any Instagram, Twitter. I've never had them ever. I don't particularly want them. And just see where it goes. It's just how it is, you know.
Yeah, and
see what happens.
No, I'll come back.
It's very difficult.
Go on, say again.
You must know yourself. You must know yourself. It's very difficult to keep putting out a content regarding mobile phones. You know, how much can you talk about a mobile phone?
Yeah.
You know, once you've sort of taken a mobile phone apart and showed the gold, showed the gold, and then shown how to recover the gold and see what gold you get from it, you know, then you got to move on to another object, isn't you? You know, and that's
you're right there, and that's the thing I find is trying to make sure that you have different content every week, or if you're putting out a video every week or whatever amount of time. That's why I'm amazed by the guys who can manage to do it 3 times a week, that they can make different content each time. And eventually what's going to happen is it's going to get very hard for people to get that every week, to have a different thing. And that's the thing. I don't want to go down that road where I'm repeating what I've done the week before or 2 weeks before. So that's the thing about scrap. There's always so much out there, and there's always so many items you can scrap and the stuff like that. That's where I'm kind of looking at maybe doing some videos of around Ireland and different things in Ireland and stuff like that. And maybe I might mix it into my channel, or I might do a separate channel. I'm not sure what way to go yet myself on that. But how about yourself? Are you going to just stick with the scrap side of it, or will you look at maybe adding different content thing?
Well,
I like your boot sales. When you go to your boot sales, I think they're really cool videos. You know.
See, and that does reflect in the actual name. Now, when me and Dusty got this name, you know, it just came to us like it did. But looking back at it over a year later, that actual name represents quite a multitude of things, really. Like the picker, just the picker alone. How many people on YouTube actually have the word picker in their channel name?
Yeah.
I
don't know any, to be honest. Or do you? That's the only one I know.
Yeah, there's absolutely thousands. I mean,
is there? And you're the only one I've come across, like, with picker in it.
If you go into the actual eBay reselling side of YouTube, you will see thousands of names that have got the word picker in them. You know, one actually came to my stream recently for the last 2 live streams. It's called Bear Hardcore Picker.
Yeah, I've seen his name actually now that you mentioned it popping up in the chat.
Swamp Picker, that comes to my streams. You know, when you start really looking, there's loads out.
Yeah.
Absolutely loads. But it's a very difficult, seems to be a closed-knit circuit, as it were. Unless you're into eBay selling, reselling, or going to thrift stores or boot sales, flea markets, then they're not interested in you one little bit.
Yes. Yeah, they're a close community. Unless you're one of them, you're not. You won't find them. Oh, right. So we'd say go back to where you were on about scrapping in the early days, and now, what are the main changes you see in the scrapping?
Technology.
Yeah. And what about dealing with? We'd say I remember you brought this up on your chat. I think it was the last night or the night before, the last live or the one before that. We're dealing with scrapyards. How do you find them compared to years ago?
They've never really changed in the UK. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter what you scrapyard I've been to in the past. They're all gangsters. They're all hard men. They're all like dealing with hard scrap metal, like rough, sharp stuff, and they're all bullies or type thing. Yet when you see them in the USA, they're sweet guys. They seem really nice. Whether that's for the camera or what, I don't know. But you can't bring your camera in here. Oh, you can't do that in here. You can't do this. And they're all gangsters.
Yeah. Well, you see that when you go to if they, I've noticed if you give would say a price, would say they give you a price on copper or whatever, and next thing you just go, no, I'll just put it back in the car. I'll take it home with me again or whatever. Next thing, the price increases all of a sudden. It's like if you're daft enough to take the first offer, they're happy to take it off you. They're happy to rip you off. That's what I find about them here. And now they're not all like that here. Some of them will give you the price over the phone before you go, and you know what you're going to get before you even get there. So then you can make the decision when you go. But the thing I find is, as soon as you ring up and you go, what's your price of copper? How much have you? Well, it doesn't matter how much I have. How much is it per kg? Doesn't matter if I have 100 kgs or 1 kg. How much is it per kg?
Yeah, how much you got? That's what they say. How much you got?
Yeah, so I don't understand that bit like with them.
And that is their actual patter, isn't it? Yeah, how much you got? Yeah. Well, I've got a bit. That's generally what I say. I've got a bit.
Yeah.
Then it throws that ball straight back in their court then. But they're going to rip you off. And regardless, there's prices that, they will never, ever disclose with you that there's a price for actually taking, just for an example, an extension cord, a cord for the kettle, right? If you take that insulation cord off and you're left with the 3 wires inside, that's still got an insulation on, then that's a different price completely, which is called singles. Yeah. They give you a price with all the insulation on, and then there's another price with the outer coat insulation taken off.
Yeah. So it might be worth taking it off sometimes, or it might be worth leaving it on. It all depends what they're giving you.
Well, I generally, unless it's really small stuff to do, I won't do it. That just go into a sack. But extension cords, yes, at some point I will strip that wire out of them. Although it's called that hairy wire, the thin stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, once you've got a 20-litre bucket full up of it, it's better for me. But people don't have the time for that, and I appreciate that they don't, because they're on to the next thing. They just put it in a sack. But I ain't got the time to strip it.
Yeah.
But I have.
Yeah, well, if that's it, if you have the time, that's where I was going to come on to now as well, is where do you get all your time? How do you allocate your time for between YouTube and between your scrapping and between your family life and stuff like that? How do you prioritize it, or how do you say to yourself, I'm going to do 2 hours scrapping today, I'm going to do an hour of video editing, and then the rest of the day I'm doing this, or I'm going looking for scrap or whatever? How do you allocate your time?
We just take each day as it comes. And if I feel like doing something, then I'll do it. If I don't, I won't. I'll do something else. You got to bear in mind, up until 18 months ago, maybe 2 years, I was heavily into fishing in a big way, and I was earning quite a few bob from that. And I just sort of lost the spark for it. I mean, I've been doing it for years, out on the match scene, going out twice a week. In and out with the equipment all the time, refreshing the equipment, making new pole rigs, and what a lot of people in the actual scrap world wouldn't even understand if they're not a fisherman.
Yeah, no, I used to fish when I was younger, and I like watching competition fishing. It used to be on, was it BT Sports or one of them used to have it years ago on it. You used to be able to watch the competition fishing, and people would be watching me and say, how could you sit there for hours just watching a person fish? Well, I could stand in a river for hours and just stand there with the rod and watch the float going up and down or whatever. You know, I find fishing a great way of just getting away from everything and away from everyone and just getting your head straight. That's what I found fishing was very good for.
And you find that actually a lot of guys do actually use that, because the moment that you actually start fishing, whatever pressures you've got in life have disappeared immediately.
Yeah, and you're just concentrating on the float and the whatever you're doing, you know.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
there's nothing else in the world that's going to overpower what you're doing right then when you're sitting on the seat box. If you're
Yeah,
standing in the river, it's all gone within the blink of an eye.
yeah. Well, that's what I found about scrapping too. Is if you're taking something apart for that length of time you're taking it apart, you're thinking about nothing else. You're just concentrating on what you're doing, and any troubles you were having or anything that was going on 20 minutes ago is forgotten for that length of time you're doing that. You know, which is probably why I got into the scrapping as well. You know,
Yeah,
one of them things. And YouTube, I find YouTube as well is a good way of getting away from stuff. When you come on here for your 2 hours or whatever, you're just concentrating on what you're doing, and you're having to chat with whoever you're talking to, and it's just another release valve, as I say, from the pressures of whatever's happened during the day.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will move on then with say what do you like and what do you dislike about scrapping. I ask every scrapper that.
Um, well, I probably hate the fact that I've got a very, well, I'm not going to say a small house, because there's actually thousands and thousands of people in this borough that got exactly the same house as me. But it's, I'd like a bigger backyard and a side entrance, so that I wouldn't have to struggle the way that I do to get stuff through the house and deal with it and then take it back all out again, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I've seen your struggles.
I've got a very small back garden, I
Yeah,
mean, very, very small, probably 20 foot by 20 foot. And then I've got like a bowling alley bit where the shed is. It's
yeah.
very, very small, but it
And we've
suits
all
me.
and we've all seen your stack of batteries every time you're going into the shed.
Well, and this is why I have to do this sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's why it's stacked like that, because there's just no room. And that little area there is not holding up anyone's space, if you know what I mean. There
yeah.
is a half brick wall behind that and a half panel fence behind that you can't see, that we've not seen for a little while actually. And but that's the storage space. Storage is a premium when you're scrapping and you want to hold on to it.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd say the same for YouTube. What's your likes and dislikes about YouTube?
The likes and dislikes. Well, I've obviously come across a few scrapping channels, right, in my time already that
Hmm.
I've supported for a long time before I even become a creator. And you see some of their errors, maybe some of the things that you think, well, I don't want to do it like that. You're actually not making the most of what you've got. You're not capitalizing on what you've got. Is it because you're thick? I don't really know. And then when you start to become a creator yourself, you never see that person really.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
don't really say,
yeah. That's kind of it. You'd be following channels, and you mightn't see them coming into your channel or whatever, or giving you the support you give them at the start or whatever like that. That's why I try always to go to every channel that has been in at me, and sometimes I mightn't put anything in the comments, but I'll watch their video.
yeah,
So it's as you said, sometimes it's hard to get everyone's channel and stuff like that, but at least once a month I'm getting around to someone's channel that I hadn't got around to the month before. So
and
and get
this is where my like for YouTube is that, although we are in a very, very nice environment with all the people in the chat right now that try to show as much support to every channel you possibly can, but unfortunately, as that circle then becomes bigger, and then there's more YouTubers actually in that we
yeah.
all really like, you just can't possibly do it. It's impossible.
Mhm.
Okay, it doesn't matter what their content is or how much you actually like that person. You just cannot physically do it. And
Yeah.
we do these videos. I do these videos we have a little world symbol when we list something, and that's for the
Mhm.
whole world to see.
Yeah.
Right, but we seem to get wrapped up in some emotions and feelings and stuff like that, because that's who we are. That's what we're made of. And then we start talking like we are now. We can't do this, we can't do that. Well, it's a shame then, isn't it? If we
Mm.
can't actually watch it, there's no big deal, because if you don't watch my content, Scrapping Irish, There's going to be someone out there on this massive planet, bearing in mind there's 5 billion uploads every day,
Yeah.
that's going to watch it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that brings me back to another thing then as well, is the people who feel they have to come into a channel to troll someone when there's billions of channels out there that can watch that they're into. Why come into a channel you're not interested in and give out and say this? I don't like your content. I don't like this. I think you're rubbish. I think whatever. Move on to another channel. Don't bother coming in. So I don't understand them people. That's the dislike I have. The people that feel they have to give you an opinion, but give out about your content. Move on to some content that you like watching. Move on to what you like. You know.
And unfortunately, Scrapping Irish, look, I don't want to go back to the fishing too much. I used to go out on an open match every Sunday where there was 55 guys, you know, that are all ages, and they're all there to win the money, okay? And when you walk out to that car park to put your gear away and you've just won the day's takings, you then realise that there's guys out there that are really pleased for you and go, you know what, you fished really well today, you've done really well. What did you catch it on? What did you catch them on? Because they're only coming up to you to be nice, to find out what you've done.
Yeah. To learn from you.
And there's other guys, right, that will just put their gear in the car and piss off out the car park, gone. Won't say a word, right? And then you find some really genuine people that come up to you and say to you, well done, well done. Then they start to worm their way into your kindness so that you drop your guard, and then you start opening up and saying, then they drop that bombshell question 3 weeks later. So how did you catch them? How did you catch them? But you're already ready for their answer, because generally I say all sorts.
Yeah. You have your answer ready.
All sorts, yeah, well, liquish.
Yeah.
So
good answer. Good answer.
Right, so and until you get older, and it's like anything in life, the older you get, the wiser you do become. Yeah, and then you can start to see that when a guy's walking up to you after the match and you're putting your gear away in the car. He says, "Wow, you caught a load of fish today. How did you do it?" You know, piss off. You know, you're only after one thing. You're only after my little secrets that I've got, that I've worked years and years to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's different in the scrap world compared to the fishing, because in the scrap world, I think we kind of share information with each other. It's a different kind of game. Like we'd say, that's why we put out the videos, to show people where we might make a mistake, or there's a quicker way of doing it, or something like that. And that's what I find very interesting about it, that we share information in the scrap. Like in this communities, I know there's big scrappers won't share information with each other, but we'd say the likes of us who are just doing it as a hobby or a pastime, or just to make a few extra pound, as you said, for a Christmas or something like that, then, you know, it's not our living, it's not our bread and butter. So that's why we're more keen to probably share information.
Yeah, far from it. Far from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's about enjoying what you're doing, it, because you never know when that Lord above wants you, and that can happen any time in life. So enjoy what you've got when you've got it, and make the most of it, and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And as regards to trolls, unfortunately, they're there on YouTube. We've not actually had to deal with that up until recently. And you know, it could be someone that you actually know.
Yeah, that's the thing that disappoints me too, and it is that sometimes you have people who will be straight to up in your face telling you, "Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. Oh, it's brilliant. I love your channel," and then they could have another account and be the one that's trolling you at the same time, which is like, I just don't get that at all. I can't figure that bit out with people, how their mind works, you know.
Yeah, I've just received 2 comments today. Okay.
Yeah.
More than that, I've received more than 2 comments today, but 2 in particular, right, from a YouTube channel that I've never ever heard of, ever seen before. And this one actually says, this is from a YouTube channel called Frozen House, which was 4 hours ago, and it says, this was on my recent video actually, and it says, great video. I think you dragged them out too long. Find scrap on the road, just throw it on the truck. Don't do interview on the street with the item. Just go to the next spot, throw it in the truck. No need to spend 20 minutes on the streets doing inventory on the street, right? Okay, so what do you do with that? You just like it, thumbs it up and say, I didn't say nothing. That's it. That's all they've got. And the second one was, on another video, which is the curbside finds video. You seem very lazy. Why not have her hold the camera and you grab more stuff?
Or grab the camera.
Right?
I'd say that man would not be opening too many doors for ladies going into any place.
You know, and that's, to me, it's a comment, and everybody's entitled to the comment. It's not nasty or anything like that. I mean, I've never seen that channel before ever. It's got no avatar there. It's just nothing. But they've got no content themselves, you know. And then I get another one from that's someone that's actually in the chat as we speak, and she's watched 2 of my videos today, which I really do appreciate, and that's Cryptillions. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen crypto.
Yeah, great video, Snobby. So glad you never dropped that lead on your toes. You know what? Yeah. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, yeah. And second one today was that's great, Snobby. It looks a lot better. She's talking about the little shelving that I just recently put out there. And your face when Dusty sneezed, laugh out loud, that got me laughing. Great video.
Oh, I see that where she sneezed and I thought you were going to mention Corona or something to her.
You know, and it's comments like that, that make them other 2 fade away. You know, the fact that they've come in to watch the video in the first place, which is brilliant. So they get the heart and the thumbs up. That's it.
Right, but I just want to mention something there while we're stopped. I want to mention Ro, who has just threw me $5, which I really appreciate, Ro. But as I just say to everyone on the show, I don't expect you to throw money at me or do anything like that. I appreciate it when you do, but anyone that's coming in and just watching my content and giving me their time and give me their views is more than happy with that. As I say, I work full time, and YouTube, I know I'm never going to be a millionaire out of YouTube, but I really appreciate that, Ro, and thumbs up to you. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've done it before, and I'm sure that one day when Romantic is fully monetized, you will only do the same.
Oh yeah, well, I as I say, I work full time, so I have my wages coming in every week or whatever, and YouTube is just a thing. And if I like some content that people are doing, I'll always throw something every so often to them to get a coffee or something for them. I appreciate their time and their help in getting my channel up and running too, which is something that a lot of people have done for me on YouTube, and I won't ever forget the people that have, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of way.
Yes, me and Dusty have got everything written down in a book.
Yeah.
Every single thing. And as you know, we do send out stuff, quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I have your mug. I didn't bring it up. I meant to bring the mug up me. I forgot to bring it up. I had it downstairs. I was going to be drinking out of the mug and I forgot. Yeah. I know.
But that's how it is, right? You know, and this is the community that we're in. Yeah.
So I'll get back to another question I was going to ask you is where do you think the scrapping will head as the future goes on? Because I know here in Ireland it's tightened up a lot on what people, a normal person, can do, what they can collect and what they can bring to a scrapyard and stuff like that. We'd say, for instance, e-waste is getting a lot tighter. A lot of the shops are meant to take back the e-waste when you buy your new item. If you're going to buy a new computer, they're meant to take back the old computer and send it back to a designated recycling centre. So how do you think it's going to head in the UK? Are you going to follow suit like the rest of us, or are you going to go your own way?
Well, Ian Matthews once said a little while ago that people will always put stuff out. Okay, always. They're not in a fortunate position to actually pay to get it removed, or don't have a vehicle to take it to the recycling centre, which I do agree with. There'll always be stuff put out, but slowly, it's changed, and it's just getting worse because the governments, the recycling centres that we have here, we have 2 in my borough. One's a very, very large one, and one's a smaller one, and they're both owned by foreign companies.
Yeah, our main one is owned by a Dutch company.
I think as maybe from the Netherlands. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they change. They have a contract.
Could be the same company that own the one here in Ireland, the big one here in Ireland. Could be the same crowd.
Yes, could well be. And they have the contract for 3 or 5 years, and if they make enough profit out of it, then they take another 5-year contract, right?
Yeah.
And it seems that when I go to these places today, they have massive, great open containers that they have steps to walk up to drop your stuff off in, and you can guarantee that they're all full up every week. Whether that's electrical stuff, whether that's hardcore, whether that's ceramics, hard plastics, and then it's all shipped away and all recycled in the right way. And there's masses of money to be earned that we never ever know about.
Yeah.
Masses of money.
Yeah, there is. There's masses of money.
And
Because
that's capitalize on it.
yeah, well, like even here now in Ireland, there's a company in Northern Ireland that buy plastic that no one knew about, that you could sell your plastic. So if you had your plastic cases from your vacuum cleaners and your televisions, and they'd only buy it when there's a full lorry load now, which wouldn't be any good to a small scrapper. But if you had a big yard and you could collect it up for a couple of years, you could sell your plastic by the ton. Where at the moment you're throwing it into the plastic recycling and getting nothing for it. So there is opportunities out there for money that people don't know about. But the bigger companies don't want the smaller people to make money from it. They want it all to themselves, as far as I can see. And you were saying there about people will always be allowed to will always leave stuff out because they don't have bins or whatever. But here in Ireland, we used to think that, but what they've done is they've enforced it. They have a crowd that goes around to the houses that don't have a bin, and they have to prove how to dispose of their stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what will happen. Yeah, everybody at some point, stop. Your comments are good comments, even the bad ones. They took the time to watch. That's right. You're absolutely right there, and that's why I'll always leave a thumbs up. And sometimes I might even reply by saying thanks for watching, and that's it. But yeah, everybody's entitled to say what they like, as long as there's no swearing or nastiness. Then I'll just delete it straight away. But
my point here is, if you've nothing positive to say, don't say it. That's my point, because there's enough negativity in the world going around, and enough things, and a person doesn't know if you're having a bad day that particular day, and actually they put up something negative to you, and that might be something that just puts someone off for the day. My point is, if you've nothing positive to say, just don't say anything. Just move on to something else. You don't need to be negative all the time. There's enough negativity from people. And if everyone just was a bit more positive and a bit more, I liked your video and blah, 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 and that's grand. If you don't like the video, just don't say nothing. And because no one knows if someone's having a bad day or something has happened to that person during the day. And if they read that comment, that could be something that puts someone off the rails for the day, That's my point with it. That I understand everyone can have a comment or have something to say, but I don't understand why people always have to be negative on stuff or be putting other people down to make themselves feel better. But then maybe there's something going on in their life that isn't proper. Maybe they should be taking a closer look at themselves and saying, why am I always negative, or why do I always have to be opinionated of that kind? That's my point. That's my rant over.
And it's just like, I'm reading the chat as it goes through. Poos, mate, it's illegal here in England to put stuff out, but it's not enforced, which is, which I was going to come to. It won't be long before everybody in the UK receives some form of letter to say that. I mean, already people put fridge freezers out, right? You have to pay around about £15 to the council for them to come and pick it up and take it away. Right.
And in England, do they not do like they do here? If you go into a shop here and you buy a new fridge freezer, there's a €5 charge included on the sale of the fridge freezer for that, we'd say the electrical, because I worked in a company that sold washing machines and stuff like that, and we used to deliver the washing machine and take away the old one because they'd paid the €5 at the time to have it picked up and disposed of. So is that not enforced in the UK, or is it not something that they do in the shops there? Because it's an actual government levy that's put on stuff here for recycling, for picking up the old stuff from the person's house.
Well, I know what you're saying, and there should be some sort of clause there when you do buy something like that, a white goods product. Mm-hmm. I mean, not washing machines there is now. When you buy a washing machine, they give you that opportunity to say, well, look, we'll take your old one away, which you do see quite often now. Yeah. But as regards to fridge freezers and fridges and things like that, not at the moment. All you do is see it.
That's what got me thinking about the recycling. I work for that company. I've seen all this stuff coming back, And I was thinking, well, if this is being collected by a company and this company are bringing it away to recycle, there must be money out of it. They're not doing it for free. So that's what got me looking into the scrap metal and stuff like that. But again, I hadn't a big enough space to actually do that game. If I had, I'd have warehouses full of washing machines. I'd be worse than what's his name in metal in America? What's his name that collects the washing machines constantly? And come on, snobby, don't leave me hanging. Scrap Metal Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
I'd be worse than him. I'd have a yard full of rubbish. So I would.
Yeah, but I'd have it more organised, I believe. But
Yeah, I'd try and scrap it out quicker. I'd get the most out of it. I wouldn't be just throwing whole washing machines in. I'd be stripping them out completely. I'd have them broken down into the aluminium, the motors, everything broken down on them.
this is where I saw a documentary on the TV regarding refrigeration units, and this is why they're all shipped on a container and then shipped out to Netherlands, because I believe there's a big company out there that actually make the most out of refrigeration unit. I mean, they degas it, they rebottle the gas, they take all the foam, the insulation foam, and they recycle every part of that fridge, whatever it is. They're now in profit with it, you know.
Yeah.
So all the ones that we see in the UK here that we're left outside, they eventually get picked up and then they're shipped out and dealt with correctly, because what should be happening, it be done in our own country.
Yeah.
It should
But
be done here.
I don't know why you don't do that there, because I can understand in Ireland we have a population of 4 million people. We're not going to have that much washing machines. We're not going to have that much stuff. So we're going to have to export it to a country who'll be able to do with them, mix it in with all the rest of their stuff. But the UK have 60 million people, so there's going to be a lot of recycling to done there. So I don't understand how the likes of the UK export it to another country to have it done. You know, it could create jobs there. It could do whatever there. I just don't understand that bit of it. I can understand Ireland because we've only got 4 million people, so we've got one tenth of the population, less than about 8% of the population of the UK. So we're never going to have enough population to make it viable for a company to do it here. But
which is true.
But, yeah, and just when you brought up there about getting the most out of it, does your scrapyards, we say, I know here in Ireland when they take in a car or something like that, they take the petrol out and they actually resell the petrol here to people for their lawnmowers or whatever, you know. So they get the scrapyards here get the last bit of money out of everything they take in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't really sort of. The last car that actually went into a scrapyard was my son's car, which was a Renault Megane that was crashed, and it was something my son wanted to get rid of, and he just took it to the scrapyard. They gave him some money for it, and it was literally cut up and got rid of. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, disappeared.
Yeah.
But I've not. I know that's all changed. Then now all the rules and regulations in scrapyards that deal with cars. I mean, we did have an area that wasn't too far from us, which was near the dock areas, and it was all, I'm going to say this, African breakers yards. Yeah, I mean, you know what they do to a vehicle? They break them down.
Yeah, you get the last bit out of it.
Oh, and the mess and stuff that they used to leave. And if they had a pile of tyres that looked like a mountain, it would set alight. You know, there was
well, there was no environmental rules obeyed to there, like, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing about scrapping as well, is over here it's gone very tight environmentally. There's none of this. The tyres, you have to show, if you're getting rid of your tyres, you have to show where they went to, who recycled them, they were disposed of properly, they weren't dumped out in a field somewhere. You have to have paperwork all the way along the line. Even the companies, we say that if you go into a shop now and you get new tires on your car and your tires are €100 a tire, you pay an extra €3 per tire for disposal. Then that €3 goes to a company who come and take them away, and there's a big line of where they've gone to, you know. So it is really tight over here in environmental rules on it.
And on that note, there have been guys before, right, that have gone around in like a box truck to all tire replacement places, picked up their waste tires and then taken them back to a massive warehouse, and they've stacked these tires to the ceiling and it's completely full up, and then they shut the shop. They're gone, they disappear. And
the council have to deal with it then.
Yes, and they've taken all the money and left it there. You know, that there's some real criminals in scrap.
Yeah, they've done that here in Ireland as well one time. I think they had 400,000 tires dumped in a big pit that no one knew, down in the middle of nowhere, and next thing they disappeared, and the council then had to pay, I think it was over £1 million to get them all disposed of properly. You know,
Yeah.
so it is a blight on the thing, but it's really tightened up over here. So I'm going to go back to one more question. I've only got two more questions really for you. Is yeah, I don't know about the amount of time. So it's just, we'd say YouTube then. Where do you see YouTube heading in the future? Because we talk about YouTube when you started and how getting to the 1,000 was the big thing and stuff like that. And now, well, at the time you could be monetized without getting to 1,000 years ago. And then they brought in the rule that you had to have 1,000 and 4,000 hours. And do you think they're going to bring that again, change that again? Or do you think it's kind of fair enough as it is? I personally think they're trying to squeeze out smaller channels and make it that you give up easier, and then they get rid of the ones who they won't be around for a long time. But the people who are more dedicated will still keep going to get them little yokes, you know.
There'll always be changes. Always. We need to evolve, don't we? We need innovation. We need to change, because otherwise, if things stay the same, nothing ever moves. So there's always going to be changing. The YouTube, as far as I'm concerned, strive to make you produce better content, maybe, because sometimes there are actual things that they say on your analytics stuff. Oh, people ain't watching this one as much as the last one you done. In other words, try harder.
Yeah,
keep going, pushing. And you just got to take no notice of it, as Ian says. And many others, just take no notice of that. Just do what you do. Put your videos out, and that's it. Enjoy what you're doing right now, and have fun with it.
Yeah, well, that brings me on to what I was going to say. What advice would you give to
as much as you can? Don't worry about it too.
Yeah, that was going to say. What advice would you give to a new YouTuber coming on in the scrap world?
Coming into scrap, well, I've come across a couple of E-Waste Dylan, well over a year ago, young lad there. I think he was probably saying like 14, 15, really into his scrap. And in fairness, I actually shied away from the young man. Not that he was a lovely boy, really was. But I actually started to move away from it because I didn't want to encourage it, if you know what I mean. I didn't want him to think that when he's my age that it's going to be the same. It's not easy. You can't make a living out of scrap. Mm-hmm. It's not maybe out there in the US where it comes from, maybe. But I don't think you could like pay a mortgage or something like that. What you need is education. And for me, that young boy should have been putting more into his education at school than worrying about getting scrap after school. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Which is a good point, yeah. Because of all the regulation and everything here, it's impossible for a small scrapper to make a living, I think. That's my personal thing. I just do it for a hobby, a few extra pound here and there. That's it. I still have my wage coming in while I'm working, and that's then this bit of scrapping in the evenings or bit of whatever. And if you get a few pound from YouTube every so often, and you get a few pound from your scrap, it's all a bonus. It's all the icing on the cake, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's something I still have down the shed that I've not actually brought out and shown anybody just yet. I am going to at some point make another one, but disassemble it and then make a video of how I put this together. And basically, it's a small lathe that's been made from scrap wood and scrap metal. And the only part that's brand new on it is the actual speed regulator that I bought from China. That's got a dial on it that can turn the motor up and slow the motor down. Yeah, but it's been completely made out of wood and scrap metal. No one's seen it. And I used to use it to make fishing floats. Okay, that's it. It worked for me. That's all it had to do. Little 12-volt battery that I can connect to it, get the power, job done. Yeah. No one's ever seen it, but that's the type of thing I like, to make something out of scrap. And the motor was from a battery drill that I found.
There you go. So you made something completely out of scrap that was going to be thrown away of another use, which is kind of what the scrappers world is about.
And, I'm just waiting for that right moment to make this video and get like 50 million views.
Go on, make your first million on YouTube.
It only takes one.
This is going to be my final question before I let anyone else who wants to ask questions in the panel come up, or anyone in the chat, is what do you put your popularity down to on YouTube? Because I'd say in the scrap and the people that go live, you're probably one of the ones that have the most amount of people coming into their lives. And even tonight, I noticed my numbers are higher because of I put your name out in that you were going to be the guest tonight, and I seem to have higher figures looking at the numbers that were in and out. So when I go onto your live, when you're on your Saturday night or your Saturday Night Live,
Friday.
Friday Night Live, when I'm on your Friday Night Live, your figures are up on 50 people in the chat, constantly for the last couple of weeks. So what do you put your popularity down to? This I'm like the fisherman now, you see. I'm coming up to you and I'm
Well, it's something I should keep doing. I shouldn't really keep doing this. And I refer to the gentleman that's in the chat who's called Ian Matthews, okay? And basically, he said, just be yourself, okay? Just be yourself because, and I've seen this now later on, that it's very, very difficult to actually be somebody you're not a year later and still give out that same thing. Just be yourself. And that's exactly what Ian is himself.
Yeah, I met him, so I can tell everyone he's the same in the videos as he is in real life. He's a goof.
Yeah, but he's very approachable.
Yeah.
Very
helpful.
And that's basically it. It's just be friendly. Yeah. Just be friendly. Don't have this. I can be a horrible sod if I needed to be.
Yeah.
I've got kids of 29 and 30. I've been around. I've dealt with a few things in my time with the kids and whatnot, with other parents and all that sort of stuff of bringing children up, but don't just be yourself, and that shines.
Yeah. Well, on that point, I will say thank you very much for giving up your. How long did I get out here tonight? Yeah, how much extra do I have to pay now? Do I have to pay per the minute after I went by it, or what's the story now?
Well, bearing in mind we've actually gone over by 20, I believe it's 22 minutes.
Yeah.
There's no great charge for it, but just kindly send a check in the post first class.
No problem. I'll send it when Ian Matthews is sending the stickers. I'll send it to Ian so he can send it down with his stickers. So, guys, I put the link out there. If anyone wants to come up and ask any questions of Snobby, we'll be more than happy. As long as it's, again, as we say, it's all about scrap. If we can keep it about scrap and YouTube and stuff like that, all the better. I just want to say hi to a few people who I probably missed in the chat. UK Scrapper came in, Romantic, as I said. Let me see, Ali Mac was in, Pooh's Mate, Crypto, great to see Crypto, and John Ladd was in. Jason Hughes, I think I said hi to. Mark V8 Man, good to see him in. Who else was in? Dirt was in. Who else was in? Ali Mac, Jason Hughes, Raphael Scrapper. I think I've got anyone I've missed. Put your name back in the chat there, and I'll say hi to you. Because the chat will only let me go back so far, and I might have missed someone that was in earlier, and they might be still there in the background. Think I'm a sod for not saying hi to them. There was did I see someone there Shark Scrapper? I don't know. Did I say hi to him? But I think that's it. So we have someone in the basement who wants to come up and say a few questions, maybe, and we'll bring him up and we'll change it around. Give me a second. There we go. So Scrapman50, welcome. Do you have any questions for our guest tonight?
Not really. It's just
okay, good.
I remember a long time ago when I was started fixing microwaves. I saw some videos on how to scrap microwaves, and the only copper I thought was in a microwave was the magnetron, and not the magnetron, the transformer. So I looked up how to scrap a microwave, and I brought this video from this weird YouTuber called Snobby Scrap Picker with an angle grinder, and he was hacking out a magnetron. And so I didn't have no idea there was copper in them things. So
there we go.
I was throwing them away left and right, thinking there's any copper in it. So I saw one of his videos and started hacking these apart with a angle grinder. I said, I'll try that, switch in it. And sure enough, they're full of copper.
That's one of the things about scrapping is stuff that you look back and you threw away thinking, oh, that was money. That was money I threw away.
Look at that.
I got a few of them collected here. I just buffed off the coating on it to see if it was a little copper or not. But I don't have an angle grinder, so I use a hacksaw.
Are you still there, Snobby, or have you frozen? Oh no, I thought you had frozen there for a minute.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay, so
Still there.
Scrapman 50 is thanking you for your advice on how to get the copper out. So you made a little bit more money for this man.
Just a little more info, you know. Do the world of good, I guess.
Well, it was actually Ian Matthews once again that told me from one end to the other. There's a very thin piece of metal in there, which I believe is titanium. I think it was titanium. I'm not 100% on that, but it's so small and microscopic and very thin. It's probably I never keep it. You know, it's just something that goes on the floor and gets swept away. But it could be worth millions of pounds.
It could be worth in 10 years' time. You'd be saying, "Why didn't I keep all that titanium?" You know, I'd be a millionaire if I kept it all. So it is. I'm just having a look in the chat to see if there's anything in there that people want to ask.
I think it was titanium. I'm not 100%, but I know it's a very, very precious metal. I think we missed Paul Short talk.
Hello, Paul. And Shandog is in, and Park Nest is in, and UK Scrapper I got. Now, you know, there was a film one time and it was called Beetlejuice, and if you said his name 3 times, he appeared. And I think you said Ian Matthews 3 times at least tonight. So that can only mean one thing.
You know, I know a guy who works in a crematorium, and he keeps all the titanium out the joints, you know, makes a fortune on it.
When did you last visit that crematorium?
I go at night and rake through the ashes.
Anyhow, have you any question for our guest tonight, Mr. Matthews?
Yes, you know when you said licorice, when you said licorice, was it all sorts or licorice root?
Well, that's what I say when they come up to me and I
just can't see you sticking one of those bright pink licorice things on and then slinging it in.
When they used to ask me, what did I catch my fish on? I used to say all sorts. And they said, what do you mean by all sorts? I said, licorice.
Look at me. No, honestly, so have I got any questions, scrapping questions? No, I don't know.
What's the Jerry's in the house?
It's got to be about the plug soup. How long have you been doing the plug soup? And do you actually add any salt before you boil it?
Oh no, not at all. Just
no
seasoning. No seasoning. No.
What made you come up with that, Snobby? Like, what made you think that would work?
Funnily enough, right, I was only talking to Ian about this the other day.
So he was.
Literally, I came across a really large aluminium pots from an area where it's very populated with Asians. So I can only presume that they used to cook vast amounts of rice in it. And there was a stack of 3 of them, and they are absolutely huge. You've seen them; they're massive, great big spoons. And they'd sat around for some time, and just one of them moments. That was it, and that's how it started, really. And it seems to have produced other people to do videos on how to remove brass pins from plugs.
Well, I think you're forever going to be associated with boiling the plugs. That's going to be when you die and your headstone is put up, they're going to put on it, this is the man that boiled the plugs.
And microwaves pickles. Microwave gherkins.
Yeah. Dumpster Jerry, welcome in, Dumpster Jerry. Great to have you on board.
Oh, Jerry.
Ian Matthews, are you drinking on a school night?
I am indeed. I don't know how to say that.
Zubra.
Oh, that one underneath. It's okay. It's natural.
So it's all natural.
Oh, yeah, all natural. Yeah, I am drinking on a school night.
and with reference to the pickle in the microwave, I have got another one, right? But being monetized now, it would never be monetized, I don't think. So it's probably not worth even doing it. But I have got one for them people that get butt hurt.
And tell me that now that you brought up there about
that's all I'm saying.
Would you not put a video out now because it won't be monetized? Like I'll still put out a video whether I think it's going to be monetized or not monetized.
Probably would be no point in doing it. Really, I'd rather just make it and then send it to people that I know
Okay.
via WhatsApp or an email.
Yeah. Fair enough. And no, I said I'd ask that because it's just something I do my videos, and then afterwards, if they get monetized, they get monetized. If they don't, they don't.
Well, I did my live stream test the other day with the camera. Yeah. And by the way, it's a cracking camera. Thank you very much. Well appreciated.
No problem.
And I didn't monetize that because it's just not fair, because you're not getting anything. That you're just seeing it was a test, so it's free.
Well, I'd still do the opposite. I'd monetize everything, and if they get monetized, they get monetized. If they don't, they don't. You might as well put it up there. If it's up there, you might as well monetize it. Well,
yeah, I mean, it's a lovely picture. And with Ali Mac's help, I managed to iron out the
speaker,
the sound issues.
Yeah.
Because the other camera that I had, my daughter will tell you, I used to have to shout all the time to be heard. And it was the feedback. I couldn't hear it. So I shouted, and it probably sounded very loud on it at times.
Well, we just thought you were drinking all day when you were doing that. So. We thought it was just you were drunk, so we didn't take it.
I found out now it's because the microphone wasn't turned up enough.
Yeah. In the background, yeah. But no, I found that when I was searching for something else. I said, I know I have a camera there, and you were off so much. I said, I'm going to get rid of his excuse for not coming on to any live panels. I'm going to stop it.
You sussed me out. It was an excuse.
I said, I'm going to stop it now.
Straight through me.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to stop that right now.
It was interesting to hear Snobby's take on the scrap game. You know, like I say, we're a similar age, aren't we, Snobby?
Yeah, by maybe 11 years.
Oh, it's just we'll look a similar age. No, that's a compliment for me, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's a compliment for you, Matthews. But you like giving yourself compliments, so anyhow. So what's your take on his take on the scrap?
It's sooner or later the government's going to decide that it's a revenue they can tighten up on, especially with all this carbon emissions thing. End of life directive, stuff like that. They'll make sure that nothing. They'll privatise waste. So there's cost involved, so the councils don't have to pay to get rid of it. That everything will go to proper recycling yards. I don't mean a bit where they just get taken away, like Snobby says. They're taking a firm in the Netherlands that totally do everything to a fridge. I mean, there's companies out there that do that with mattresses. They completely recycle a mattress. And I think that will happen to everything. The days of shipping it to India, where they throw circuit boards on hot plates just to melt the solder off. How many of those owners are kicking themselves thinking, I didn't know there was gold in all them chips.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing about it. That
they were just after the solder. But they were getting rivers of molten solder. I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary.
I did, yeah. I seen that. You mentioned it on some show, and I looked it up. So
amazing.
It's just flowing down.
Yeah. That's why I'm saving all mine till bonfire night.
I'm telling you, when I find that shed that you have them 2 bulk bags in, they're gone. Forget about it, Matthews. You'll be going out some morning and you'll be about to put some into it, and you'll throw it in like normal and it'll land on the floor, and you just do a second take.
Listen, no, seriously, get a van, come over, you can take it back with you.
Hey, there's enough of my kind over there with vans taking stuff already.
You can have it. I don't do e-waste,
I'm only messing with you. I'm only rising you. So yeah, I don't have the space for it.
Knowing what Ian's actually got there, right? Two large sackfuls. Yeah. I'm guessing that he's probably got a maximum, if you run that in, a maximum of probably between £60 and £70 cash. That's it. There's no 3 bigger numbers there.
Hello, Jack.
There's bigger numbers.
Hey, everybody.
Cycles it. If he divided them into the chips and stuff like that, he'd have like a pound of IC chips will be going on eBay for £3 or £4. So if he had 60 pounds of IC chips there, that's £3, then that's £180 alone just on IC chips. So if he broke it down into smaller components and sold them, he'd have a lot more money than he would get by leaving them in the one part that they're in.
I was watching a guy in a white shirt playing around with some loads of motherboards.
Yeah, it was playing with tantalums and MLCCs and the old orange tantalums and the black tantalums and stuff like that.
When you get to the black tantalums, he broke my heart. He really did, because there was some. They're quite large and they're circular, and I take them off and I smash the black bit off just so I can get the little silver ends. And I'm thinking, oh, they were tantalums. Ouch!
Ouch!
Such is life.
The problem is, in the UK, as in Ireland, there's no one buying them tantalums. It's only in America that I can see anyone ever buying them. And I've tried to get that company on here a couple of times for the live chat, and he keeps letting me down. So I've kind of given up on asking him to come on, because I don't think he wants to share any of his secrets, which is fair enough.
So I reached out to him today.
Yeah.
And I've threatened to come down there and open up a little can of snobby on him, but I haven't heard back from him yet.
Yeah. I'd love to get him on and talk about tantrums for a while,
I apologise for my outburst and my foul language. That's all I can do.
But it's interesting in the scrap world what one person thinks is the value and what someone else would just throw away. That's the thing. I like. Ian throws nothing away. So I was looking at his saw that he had and all these bits that he's had since his grandfather's time, and I was just thinking, when Ian is dead and gone, someone is just going to get all that and throw it in a skip.
My wife has already said that. Not someone. My wife has said, "You're gone. Get in a skip bin, 2 skips, throw the lot in the skip, take it away." I said, "There's a lot of money's worth there." She went, "Your life insurance is 150 grand. I'm not."
No, sorry, Ian. Sorry. Don't forget, I've got my phone here, and we may have already spoken, me and your wife.
You may have got the contract for getting rid of it.
And in my will is the location of the secret stash.
Oh.
Yeah,
I must trip over to Liverpool again soon.
Is it in the form of a treasure map?
Yes, it's next door but 3, but you don't know. You don't know if it's to the left or to the right, or even across the road.
Yeah, it could be to the front of the house, or it could be to the back of the house. There might be houses behind you.
What a smile Ian's got. I know that anyway. So I can't. But I reckon Ian's very much like me. He hasn't got the time to get types of chips off, or tantalums, or MICs, or Moffats, or anything like that. Just like me.
As I told Shark, get a young bucking down the road, give him a tenner, and say, "I want all them bits taken off there by the end of the week."
I do. I take all the MOSFETs off.
Yeah.
Tap them with an hammer. Who was it? Somebody was doing it, and he got a pair of channel locks, and he just puts them on and cracks it open, takes them off. I get a little hammer, well, a big hammer. Well,
that's your tell time. It has to be a hammer. When you're buried, they're going to put a hammer on your headstone. That's it, a hammer.
I do. I take all the MOSFETs off, all the aluminium, all the chokes, anything I know that's got copper in, I take off, and just leave what's left. I think the plan is when I retire, 4 or 5 years' time, or next week, I'll have plenty of time to strip everything.
Yeah. And some of them, believe it or not, have gold in them as well, Ian Matthews. Keep an eye out for them ones.
I have plenty of things that've got. I've still got the original computer I bought.
Have you, hell?
I have.
Wait a minute. An abacus does not count as a computer. I still have the slide rule that I had to learn how to use when I was in high school. That doesn't count as a computer either.
These can't remember what it was now. Pentium 200, Pentium 200, and then I moved up to a slot 1, slot 2.
You still have that computer? And
I still have it in there. Yes, I paid £1,000 for it. I'm keeping it.
is Shandog leaving? Is he? Shandog, if you're going, thanks for being in. Really appreciate it.
Later
I'm
on,
sorry
Shandog.
in the chat. I'm engaged in the panel. That's the problem I find with doing live shows. I get too engaged with chatting with people, and I miss what's happening in the side panel. So I do.
Oh, Dr. Jerry says there's so much I wish I kept growing up.
Oh, no
yeah.
kidding. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the regret every scrapper has, is they look back and they go, oh, if I only still had that, I could be retired now. That's worth a fortune.
Well, I just wish I had space. I mean, I used to work in a car breakers, a scrapyard, and the cars that went through there, like bond bugs and stuff like that, and it's like, and three-wheelers, and you think, if only I'd have had the money and the space to just, and the foresight to say, that will be a collector's car in years to come.
Yeah.
Volkswagen, and just say right.
Yeah, but Ian, the one you got now is a collector's car.
Oh!
Ouch!
Ouch is right. Ouch is right. I just want to say something there when I seen the boys showing off my hats with the stickers on them. Anyone in the chat that have looked for stickers, will you let me know if you didn't get them? Because everyone should have got their stickers by now. So if you haven't got your stickers, guys, just send me another email and I'll get them back out to you. But everyone should have their stickers by now.
Nice shiny stickers.
Yeah, shiny stickers.
Shiny.
So yeah. I have a question, and we can certainly start with Snobby since he was the guest today. But I'd appreciate, from each of you, and this came to me when Ian was cleaning out the gentleman's shed who passed away. And I got to thinking to myself, we acquire all this stuff, and as scrappers, we tend to acquire more than most people. And at some point, if we don't get rid of it, we're going to leave it to our kids to have to make a decision on what they're going to do with it. Now, that's actually motivated me to clean house.
You're having a laugh. I saw your video the other day. You couldn't actually bring the stuff back to put in your shed.
Well, that's a different issue, but so Snobby, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, at the moment we do what you call an attic. We have an attic that we can't possibly get any more stuff in because the house will collapse. It's as simple as that. There is no more room up there anymore. Okay, and we've only been in this house a little over 20 years. My parents now, they've just done exactly what you've just said. They've actually cleared their house out to a bare minimum. So if anything was of any value, it's gone. It's been sold off or whatever. They're looking at moving to a retirement place. I don't know. But here right now, if I pop tomorrow, then I know there is a few bob here for Dusty. That's immaterial money that she can do with whatever she needs to do with it. She knows what to do with it. She knows how to get rid of it. And, if it happened tomorrow, that's it. It's all hers, the lot. And that's without other stuff.
If it happens to you, it's not your problem anymore.
Well, that's a very good point.
I won't know about it. That's right.
Yeah. Scrapman, you went through this, right, when your father passed away?
Yeah, I sure did. Back when my father passed, I knew I had to do something with that stuff when he passed away. I'm telling everybody, I throw it all away. I wasn't even on YouTube back then. So, if I had donated stuff to somebody, they probably would have thrown it away or something, not knowing the value. I've tried contacting people about coming to pick it up, some of his friends, some of his fellow, sales guys, and none of them were interested in it. So, I didn't have much choice. From the time my father passed and I had to move out was like 2 months. So So I had no time at all to go through it, find out what I wanted, find out what I didn't want, so I can donate. It was just kind of just thrust upon me to get rid of it. And if I could stay there, stuff would just sat in that shed for years. There's probably enough stuff in that shed to keep a YouTuber busy, scrapping videos for the next couple of years. I mean, it was packed full.
Yeah.
There were antique organs in there, LP records, 8-track tapes.
Oh, all worth a fortune now.
Blank video cassettes by the crate full. Mickey Mouse telephones from the 70s and the 80s.
Oh.
Some of those actually got salvaged, and they weren't actually working. There happened to be a hole in the roof right above the box where all the Mickey Mouse phones were stored. And all the electronic stuff inside of them were shot. But the plastic was cleanable. So it was cleaned up and they were sold on, let's see. I think I sold a couple of them on eBay, and the rest of them got donated to, my sister took one each, and some on their shelf, whatever. And, most of the other telephone stuff is just old, just park stuff that got thrown out.
Yeah.
I managed to salvage a stack of those caller ID units and sold those on eBay for the past, 3 or 4 years. It took me 4 years pretty much to sell all the caller IDs. And even 2 or 3 a week, it took that long to sell.
Yeah.
Well, I said to my wife, she says, look at all this stuff you've got. Why have you got it? And I said, well, I'll be retiring shortly and I need an interest. So for 40 years, I've been collecting stuff for when I retire.
Matthews, I'll be amazed if you do anything when you retire with that at all. You'll just do the same. You go around collecting more.
You need to have a plan.
You're trying to collect stuff.
You need to have a plan for it because when you pass, you're leaving that burden. My father tried to sell that stuff for years. All that stuff was in the shed with stuff that we couldn't sell.
I've done exactly the same thing for other people. They've approached me and said, my partner died anything up to 10 years ago. Can you clear everything out of that shed? I did. I emptied it, brought it all here. And you get to a point and you're thinking, why? Why did I bring it here? Because I can't get rid of anything. That's the problem.
Yeah. I can see that from your saws, your screwdrivers, and everything else you've collected over. I can understand the saws belong to your grandfather and stuff like that, but you pick up
slot-headed screws. Who uses slot-headed screws
anymore? That sort of stuff, I just don't understand. I just can't go. I go, why is he collecting that? Why hasn't he just put that in a bucket and got rid of it?
Oh, I saw Dumpster Jerry do that. He broke my heart. He got this plastic. Yeah, it was something like one of these, wasn't it? Yeah. He got something like this, which I've got from somewhere, and he just opened it, threw it all in a thing, and it was like, what have you done that for? That is so useful. Why have you done that?
Yeah.
Stuff from our basement, however, my dad's work shed was in the basement, and right when he got remarried again, I guess when he knew he was dying, he remarried his old girlfriend from Illinois, and he told me, he says, he wasn't going to go in the basement no more. I want you me to clean it out. He says, anything down there you can have. So I included all his toolboxes, the table saw, a drill press, all the saws, hammers, every tool in the world. And I've actually still got all of his tools stuffed in my garage. I got them all sorted out. I managed to get rid of one entire toolbox with a bunch of tools that were duplicates.
I can see Matthew's looking for flight prices to America now.
No. I had a guest in here a while back, Huey Linesart, and it's something similar. His father, and it was complicated. He got a new wife, etc., and blah 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 blah, and didn't like that. And he knew that his dad had a load of tools. He said, Dad, when I could do with something. And he went, oh, no, he says, when I moved in, he said, I just called some travellers in. He said, just empty me garage, check everything out. He said, I couldn't believe it. He had like drill press, a radial arm saw. He said they just took the lot.
And probably charged them for disposal of it.
Well, whether or not did they just scrap it? They just view it as scrap.
No sentimental value there, nothing at all. Just gone.
Well, well, again, some of the saws are going to be working. So as Ian said, did they just bring it to the scrapyard and get scrap price for it, or did they sell it as working saws, or what did they do with it? You know?
I'll never have to visit a hardware store and get it for a nut in the bolt.
I'd just like to say hi to Nick, who has dropped in on the panel there. Nick.
Hello, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
You're right.
You're right.
Hey, Snobby, I got mate. You look a bit like Scrapping Irish, but older.
If I put the cap on, we could be twins. If I move Matthews up there, we could be triplets.
But on the road, take off the glasses.
Nah.
In the private chat for Nick.
You know, Nick, you've got a point there. They do look very similar, don't they?
Also, I'm going to write something in there about Shark Scrapper as well.
In the private chat. Check the private chat, guys.
Hey, Irish, I wouldn't want to wish you to look like Ian Matthews.
Why?
Matthews, you get the rough end of the stick every time.
What? Yeah, why?
Because you look like an Uncle Fester love child.
Oh well.
Ouch.
But
where's the leave studio button?
Good job you have no access to that. I'm not making anyone big. I done it on Raphael's stream the last day. I said, Raphael, make that bigger. I can't see it. And he made it bigger, and I just jumped off and I said, I can't believe you fell for that, Raphael.
It's catching. I lay claim to that. It's catching.
That's what I do. That's what we call it now. We call it an Ian Matthews. Whenever you do that, it's called an Ian Matthews now. You've done an Ian Matthews. So yeah. But my stuff, as you were saying there, when Shark was asking the question, what are you going to do with all your stuff if you died? My stuff, if I died, they'd come in and they'd look at these little boxes of tubs of little chips, and I have a tub of it looks like dirt. If you looked into it, you think it's just dirt, but it's actually gold dust that hasn't been heated up and melted yet. So they go, what was he collecting dirt for? And they just throw it out the back, and it's probably worth $2,000.
Well, either that or they're going to declare your house a hazmat area. And
well, that could be the other side of it. That could be the other side of it. But if anyone's seen
this stuff after he died, he won't care about it anymore.
Yeah, well, you don't care about it, but I'm just saying, if anyone's seen it, they go, what was he collecting dirt for? What was he dirt in the tub for?
I once cleared out a big factory, and they took all the cable, I mean, big cable.
Yeah, like that, man.
But they left all the switch fuse units. It weren't worth them doing. And I got them, honestly. I nearly filled this garage. When it was empty, I filled it. And all the contacts I took out, I just threw in the brass or the copper. And some of them, they had contacts on like that.
Yeah.
His later, and he was like, I think on Raphael's scrapper. And he's like, do you know these are silver? And I'm like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me
that. That's something I don't go after, is the silver. And there's a lot more silver in e-waste than there would be gold. But the value of it is a lot less. Like a gram of silver is what, $26, is it? Or is that an ounce of silver is $26? An ounce of silver is about $22 or $26.
I believe it's harder to refine.
It takes a bit more time, yeah.
It's too reactive with gold. Is not very reactive with other things, is it?
Yeah, gold is easier to get out of it. Yeah, you know. But Raphael now does a lot of that. Raphael goes after a lot of silver, I think, and stuff like that. But it's something I still have all the material left over in a stock pot, so the silver is still in there. And if I do decide to get it, I can still get it, like, eventually.
You know, there's something about silver, though, and I don't know what it is, but I just find silver fascinating. You know, I don't know why. I was even Ro and Keith from Romantic Channel and I were even talking about this a little bit earlier today. It's like there's just something I find fascinating about silver for some reason.
Is that
I have the same thing for brass or phosphor bronze. I just love brass.
Scrapping Ari, Shark Scrapper, was that because you was born with a silver spoon in your mouth?
Oh man, don't I wish?
Rachel there has asked the question. See that question I've up on the thing there? What is the most embarrassing moment when you guys were scrapping? Have you any embarrassing stories from scrapping?
My only embarrassment was when I got, you know, those big lights with the big bulb on, you know, and you have a big transformer, and I absolutely got loads of them, absolute loads. And I cut them in half on the saw at work, and there was aluminium, but they looked like copper. So I put them all in the bottom of the sack, not thinking when they empty the sack out, whatever's on the bottom,
they'd be on the top.
That was my embarrassment when they went, aluminium.
I think when you start scrapping first, you're embarrassed at the very beginning to be seen getting anything. That's what I found when I started doing it first. I was afraid to pick anything up, and people would be watching. Oh, look at your man down the road picking up an old microwave off the street. What's wrong with him? That was I used to think, but now I don't give a damn. I just, if I see something thrown out and I think there's value in it, I'll take it.
That's the advice. And I mean, there's a few people, for some reason, they think I'm a scrap man. And as you know, I'm a fake one. You know,
yeah, pretend.
There's only one proper scrap man here. There.
And what well, is a proper scrap man?
In the UK, okay.
No.
When they ask me, they say, "What advice have you got?" And I say, "Just leave your pride at home."
Yeah.
UK scrapper in the chat there. He's a proper scrapper.
Yeah, come on. He only had a shed 2 weeks ago.
He made do with what he had, right? And that's what scrappers do. They make do with what they've got.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, listen, I used to live in a flat on the 10th floor before in a high-rise block when the children were babies. One was still in a buggy, and Dusty used to meet me at the train station with scrap that I brought home. Yeah, that needed to go on the buggy because I couldn't physically carry it from the train station to the high-rise block of flats.
Oh, awesome.
That's serious scrapping.
That's real scrapper.
Literally, me and Dusty would strip copper wire in the flat and shove the insulation down the chute to get rid of it. And obviously, they didn't know where that was coming from. Because
not Dumpster Jerry, the other guy, the other Canadian. He kept everything on his balcony, didn't he? He set up a business though. He doesn't do many YouTube videos now.
Jackpot digger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I would say, even there now, Estonian scrapper, he's only got a certain amount of space for doing his scrapping. You know, it's amazing when you're into scrapping how you can make small space work for to make you a few extra pounds. You know,
there's a channel that I watch, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth taking a look at. It's called Apartment Scrapper.
Apartment Scrapper.
Pardon me?
I was just going to mention Apartment Scrapper.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, first of all, he's scrapping in a van, and I mean, he just shoves stuff in there. It's amazing how much stuff he can fit in that van. But then the other part of it is, and this one always cracks me up, he'll be in his apartment, he'll be stripping copper wire on his bed or something like that, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, if I tried to do something like that, my wife would absolutely beat the bejesus out of me.
Listen,
even the 2 from 3 is better. Their channel, they'd be scrapping the copper out in the middle of the house and stuff like that. It's what you have to do to get the money. You know, you just do it.
Yeah, you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Sure. The other day, his van was so full, he ended up breaking everything up on his bonnet, the hood. I'm like, how can you do that? You can't do that on your car bonnet.
Scrap together. Welcome in.
Hey, scrapping together. How you doing?
No, Bill. No, I like Bill. He started off a little bit ropey, you know, with the camera way over there trying to do what he's doing. But there's that's typical how people develop.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. If I look back at my first video and I do cringe, and I look back at my last video and I do cringe. So there we go.
I still cringe when I look at your videos, especially if I'm on one.
No, I shouldn't have even started. I shouldn't have even started. I left the door wide open for that.
Wide open, man. Wide open. I almost felt bad with that softball.
Yeah, I know. Just as I was saying it, I'm here. I thought it'd be Matthews. I said, I'm about to get a kick off Matthews here now.
That's a whole new thing when you're putting a video together. You know, I haven't been doing videos that long, but since I started to where I am today, you know, thumbnails are very, very catchy. They've got a like this one I've got up here now. You know,
Yeah.
it's nothing different from what many other people can do, but to put that together, it's not that easy. It really
Yeah,
isn't.
no, it takes time for start.
It does take
Like
time.
myself and Lee Matthews spend hours on thumbnails, I'm sure.
Oh, no, listen.
Nanoseconds.
Yeah. It's you. Windows Movie Maker gives me a choice of 3. It's that one. Story. I got Canva, and I must have spent 2 hours trying to put 2 pictures at the side of each other. I ditched it. I put it in Paint and saved it as in a pixel format. You know, that didn't work because you can see it's just a tiny little thing in a great big white square. And in the end,
I think that's why people, as Snobby said already, be yourself. That's the way you do your videos, and that's it. You know, you're not going to spend hours pretending you're something else. You're just going to do it. That's the way that works for you, and that's it. You know. Now Snobby has really pushed the boat out with his stuff. We just do all these and Shark Scrapper with his voiceovers and everything. I'm here like, oh my God, I have to game. These guys are killing me.
I do not know how to add voice to a video.
Well, I have new software on my computer, and I'm learning how to do it at the moment. And I'm just going to put a voiceover like, no, I'm only doing this because Shark Scrapper done it. I have nothing to say, but I'm just saying
it. Snobby's edited. He's like, whoa.
Yeah, he doesn't like bang.
He's up here, I'm thinking,
I've tried to do the Shark Scrapper voiceover, and unfortunately, it's quite a minimalist living area we're in here. And even if I was to try and like mask it, it sounded like I was in a massive, big, echoey room, and it just didn't sound like me. So
he's that never know now. He lives in a big manor house, you know.
Like talking to the mic very, very softly, so that they just because when you do the voiceover, it completely sounds different to myself than just normal recording. It's I've tried it. I may well have to do some because sometimes, unfortunately, off the phone you do get a lot of wind noise, and you have to mute that wind noise and talk over what he's actually doing. You know, because people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's when you've got your phone. You know, you've got your phone and you're talking. Obviously, it's there, isn't it? And it's noisy. And then you put it on the tripod, and then it's not as loud. And so when you're editing, it's like you're continually altering the levels of the volume.
Yeah,
well,
I'm actually
that's it.
Wireless speakers. It's a little bit expensive. I'm hoping to perhaps get it in either this week or next. Rode, it's called. Obviously, another attachment for the GoPro when I start actually using the GoPro. And, you know, so it doesn't matter whether you're turned around like that, you've got the little microphone that's wireless on your collar, and, you know, you're not even looking at the camera, but it's still picking up your voice quite clearly. But
okay, and will that work? Is that just for the GoPros, or will that work with phones or anything like that?
I'm not quite sure how it works with phones. I'll just know it will work with Canon cameras and all them EOS, you know, all the you know. But as I only know for the
there must be something wrong with my microphone.
Yeah, you're talking.
If anyone's got an old microphone they want to send me.
But Snobby, that's the other reason why I have to do the voiceovers, is because when I'm going back and looking at my videos, I realize that I've said something totally stupid, which is not at all uncommon. And I'm like, God, geez, Louise, will you use a brain for a change, you know? And so the voiceovers help me not look so stupid, or at least not sound so stupid.
With them GoPros, what I've noticed is, well, it's on top of your head, and they're just literally using the microphone off the GoPro, right? You get a lot of this, you know, where you've just picked something up, right? Well, if you've got one of them microphones here, yeah, that's not, I'm hoping that's not going to pick it up as much, you know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've not used it yet. So
yeah, I don't know if it'll pick up the breathing noise. I was watching one of these channels, and some of the comments that people were leaving on the video was, "Can you stop breathing so much? We can't hear you."
yeah. So yeah.
Who was that? Mike the Scavenger. Mike the Scavenger's channel.
We just the skips and everything.
Well, I don't know about any of you guys, right? Obviously, when I first started to watch scrapping channels, I was watching E-Waste Ben. I was watching a lot of the bigger channels, okay? And since I started doing my own videos, I totally don't watch any of them anymore. The big channel.
I still watch Moose. I'll still watch E-Waste Bin. Who else would I be watching? I'd still be watching E-Waste Mike. He's one of the bigger ones now as well. I even watch Ian Matthew still, and he's one of the big ones as well now. You know,
tiny.
You're nearly up at that 10,000.
No. You're
nearly at that 10,000.
I know,
but up there.
In the scheme of things, that is tiny.
Yeah, but that's big in the scheme of us here.
I've only been because I've been on longer than you guys. That's all. That's all. It's all about time. You know, I was looking into a video today. You mentioned Scrapman 50 mentioned the microwave. You know, when I did a microwave one, I thought it was brilliant. Not that many people watched it. You know, you look and if you type in magnets from microwaves, it's had 6 million views.
Good night, Mark.
But it's been up 7 years. It's been up 7 years, and you think,
how many views has it had? 6 million.
6 million views.
How much money have you made out of that? You must be retired by now, are you?
Holy cow, 6 million, man.
And you think, why couldn't I have done it like that?
Oh, this is not your video.
No.
Oh, I thought it was your video.
No, I watched. You know, it's like Scrapman 50 says. We don't know everything, so you look on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like probably one of my biggest videos is how to strip rotors for copper. I saw some people do it, and I thought I can do better than that, and I've done that, and that's upwards of 250,000 views. And you think, wow, that's because I did it better. But I've stripped washing machines, and they've had 600 views. But other people have thousands of views.
Yeah, it all depends on how people what they look for, or they switch it on them. They mightn't like your voice and they just go to someone else, or you know, it all depends. People have different tastes on different things. I don't get too worked up over.
I like to stick to channels that I'm growing with myself, like Sharp Scrapper, Scrapping Irish, and channels. I mean, Ian's got a few, but they're only numbers, right? They're only numbers. It doesn't mean to say because he's got 10,000 subscribers nearly that he gets 8,000-9,000 views every time.
I don't.
So to me, they're only numbers. So for somebody that's got 70, 80, 90,000 or 140,000 subscribers, as we all know one channel does have, I used to watch Scrap and Pallet Man when he had maybe 1,800 subscribers, something like that. And then just over a couple of weeks, it just went mental.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I used to watch it at that level.
Yeah,
you know?
And when someone starts getting like 50, 60,000 views within a week or so, do they really need me to watch their stuff?
There's that thing as well. And plus, if you leave a comment, the chances of them seeing your comment are fairly slim because you're one comment in about 700. they're not going to go through all 700 comments.
Well, I'm just going to put more of my time and effort into the lesser channels, you know, because one day, if I stick closer to them, if they make it big like some do, they'll go, you know what, this guy stuck with me when I only had 10 subscribers, and now I've got 100,000. I may just give this guy a shout out. Yeah.
You know, there's that in it. Like we'd say, well, like Sharp Scrapper got a nice shout out from E-Waste Bin, and I think Raphael got a shout out from E-Waste Bin. So like Bin still looks at the smaller channels, I think.
I see that. Yeah, I get that.
But you know,
I personally, I mean, that's all great, and you know, I'm pleased for Raphael and Sharp Scrapper.
E-Waste Bin, if you're watching, give us a shout out.
It's Ian has before on numerous occasions. Ian has, and definitely helped my channel, no doubt.
Oh yeah, well sure. When I went to meet Ian, and we had that drinks, and after that video, I got maybe 60 or 70 subscribers that I didn't have.
That's only because I fell upstairs. How can you fall upstairs?
I
fell going up.
I was going to say they're all Ian's fake accounts, but anyway.
Michael, I didn't see you coming in.
Hello,
Yeah, I still go back and watch Ben's videos and Moose Scrapper, Pallet Man. I mean, they're still interesting. I still can learn stuff from them. So, now I will be the first one to admit I don't watch all of a 2-hour video from E-Waste Ben in one sitting.
No, yeah.
So I kind of got to break those up a little bit.
Yeah, I had to break up when Ralph done his 1-hour video. I had to break it up into 2 videos.
Yeah.
So it's not just because of E-Waste bin or any of them. If a video goes on for an hour, I'll break it up into smaller videos. Like Ian Matthews has done the cute thing now with his video. He's breaking it down into parts instead of putting it all on for an hour and a half.
I've kind of borrowed that from Netflix.
Yeah.
They do a series and then they do another series and then they do another series. And they always listen. I've been binge watching on something called Cursed at the moment, but they always end on something exciting. Then you have to watch the next bit.
Yeah, they're funny like that, aren't they?
So that's what I do. It might not end on something exciting, but it ends.
Well, if you could end with a screwdriver stuck in your hand or a saw stuck in your foot or something, and then we'd have to come back to see did you survive.
What happens? Yeah.
Oh,
I meant to say something earlier. I think I noticed that Snobby, do you have a cut on the bottom of your hand? Did you have a plaster across your hands, Snobby?
Who? Me?
Snobby.
No.
The other hand, please. The other hand. Oh no, I thought I'd seen a plaster on your hand earlier.
No, I was rolling a cigarette. I'm rolling a cigarette.
I was going to say, did you donate blood to the scrap gods?
See, the things there, you see, scrappers, they've got eyes like shithouse rats. They miss.
Don't swear in Ian.
Yeah, well, that is really a swear word. Over here, we use that a lot too. In about anyone that spots something very easily.
Oh, you got to have eyes like that when you're driving down the road, street scrapping. Man, you got to be watching for it because.
Okay, eyes like a hawk.
There you go. Okay, that's a little
Ian,
more.
how can you have eyes like a hawk at your age?
He didn't say the hawk was stuffed and dead.
That's why he's stretching his videos out now, because he's getting a bit senile.
You must love being the butt of every joke, Matthews. Every time you come, I don't know how you do it. You must have skin as thick as an elephant at this stage. That's one thing you have to have for YouTube is thick skin.
No, but he lives in Wigan. What would you expect? They're not too bright up there.
I don't agree. Occasionally, there's some things said that do find that chink in your armor. They get through, and it does hurt.
Really?
Yeah, it happens to everybody.
You've got skin like a rhino.
And Ian, you think you're going to get sympathy off me? You got another thing coming.
You're barking up the wrong tree if you want sympathy off Nick.
I don't want sympathy from nobody.
Yeah, I remember Vid Vulture before he actually changed that. It was Scrap Vulture, right? And I used to watch him go around on the old scooter. Actually, actual sort of a scrambling type motorbike that he had, the black one.
Yeah, and he did a lock-up where he used to have his stuff in.
Yeah, he used to have another scooter that I used to watch him on, and then he actually bought an orange one. And I don't know whether it's just a natural progression, but I actually drifted away from Scrap Vulture in the end. He was actually, and I don't know why, but it's just another door opens and you start to watch somebody else and you think, well, look, this guy's getting X amount of views now and he's got this X amount of and what I don't like is when I see other channels taking the Mickey out of other channels. Okay, that is what I despise of anybody doing. You know, when I see another scrapping channel taking the Mickey out of another scrapping channel, and that's when I sort of like say, you know what, just because of what you've done now, I'm never going to watch another one of your videos because you're taking the. I can't really say it. What's another word for taking the out of someone?
Urine.
Urine out of someone.
Taking the urine out of somebody else's channel, and I don't like that type of thing. So I'm not going to mention any names or channel names, but when I see that, that's it. Finished.
That comes back to my point. If you've nothing good to say about something, don't say it. Just keep your mouth shut.
What I'm saying is, this other person, right, this Vid Vulture was very much more popular than this other channel, okay? And it seems like there was maybe a bit of animosity or jealousy because he's doing his all-round on a scooter and doing extremely well, and with 30,000 subscribers or something like that at the time, something like that maybe, and this other channel not even having 3,000 or 4,000, and sort of like maybe off the back of that bigger channel trying to, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, Snobby, I'm not following you. Are you saying you don't like someone to make fun of another channel, or someone to copy another channel?
To make fun, to take the urine out of another channel.
To put another channel down to make your own channel better.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you now. I understand. I agree 100%. There's no cause for that.
Yeah, no,
that's like,
I have no problem with people pulling the Mickey to, like what we're doing here, sometimes pulling the Mickey out of Ian, or Ian pulling it out of me, or Shark giving me that kick about my videos. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but there's a difference between friends ribbing each other and somebody who is purposely trying to put another person down for whatever reason. They makes themselves feel smarter, better, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree fully on that one. It's the same as people leaving negative comments just to make themselves feel better. If you know, as I said to Snobby, sometimes people might be having a bad day, and you leave a comment that's very negative to them. It might just be something that affects their day or affects their week, or you know, you don't know what people are going through. So just if you don't like their content, just move on to another channel and forget about it. You don't need to try and put them down to make yourself better or something like that. I
don't like that. I've seen it. I don't like it. I'll just move away from it. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying, what I'm hearing you say is that when I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, I feel like crap, I'm going to go dump on Snobby, I shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
No, what I mean is, if you was to do a video and you say in your video that you're going to do it this particular way, and you know, this is how you do your daily routine, and you know, you try and explain to the subscribers you have how you work and operate, and then another channel comes along and then starts to derogatorily do drawings about what you're doing and taking the mickey out of what you're doing. That I don't like. It's wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about scrap art. Is everyone has their own way of doing things. I have my way of doing it. It mightn't be the way that everyone does it, and it mightn't be for everyone's taste. But it's, as I say on my videos, this is the way I do it, and there's a million other ways to do it. And if you don't like the way I do it, go look and see how someone else is doing it. But I don't need your comment saying, "Oh, that was crap," blah 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 blah. You know, because I've already said it in my video that this is the way I do it, and it's not going to make a difference to me. I'm not going to change just because you want me to change. It's as Snobby said already about Ian and how they are doing. It's the way they are, and they're not going to, just because I start taking the mickey out of Ian about his hammer, he's not going to stop using the hammer. He's going to use the same as me with the heat gun. Just, you know, I got to use the heat gun. It might be costing me more money, and it might be a slower way of doing it, but it's the way I do it. And
funny you mentioned that. Rafael Scrap has just mentioned your heat gun in chat.
Oh, what did he say? Scrapping Irish, especially when the heat gun. Well, that's an ongoing joke between myself and Raphael, anyhow.
But you're right. I mean, I was watching Big Sam, who's just come on the scene.
Big Sam,
Big Sam, I got to check that out.
Big Sam, the scrap man, and he stripped a transformer with an old wood chisel. And it was quite fast. Now, I've always used an angle grinder because I can get my blades for free. But I saw Marty from Scrap Kingdom just knock the end off with an hammer, and I thought, wow, I didn't know you could do that. So we learn from other people.
Yeah.
There's no right way or wrong way, you know.
In the scrap world, that's it. There's no right way or wrong way. That's my point. There's no right way or wrong way. There's a million ways to do something, and as long as you get to the end goal, what you wanted to get out of it at the end, then it's the right way for you.
Only if you're taking brass out of the plugs.
In the soup.
There's only one way to take brass pins out of the plug.
When I see K&D freezing something one time, wasn't it? The solenoids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was a brilliant advice. So it was, and I would have never thought of that, you know.
And you know, there's a guy I live in Wigan, 7 miles away, Bolton, and he's only put 3 videos up. And his second video, he sent me a link, and I keep saying I'll do it. But you know the plastic cable cutters? They got like a V-shaped blade comes out.
Yeah.
He takes that, put it in it, and it cuts straight through. And he just takes the copper out. No hammering, nothing, and it's so simple.
Yeah, you
no hammering.
You were cracking the wire down to get it, soften it out, and get it going.
I'm venting something when I hammer things to bits.
I was beating motors out of hard drives the other day. You know, some of the hard drives, the motor is press fitted into the aluminum casing, and I was having so much fun because I would just put a casing up between the 2 pieces of wood and hold that rod on there and bash that thing. And I was thinking to myself, I ought to record this, you know, just for the fun of it.
you get like a satisfaction. It's like, no, I've said it many a time. There's no inanimate object going to best Ian Matthews. You know, even if I have to lose a finger doing it, I'm winning.
And birds that'll be hanging around your house are waiting for you to just drop dead someday, and they're going to just pick your eyeballs out and be gone.
Right, on that note, guys, I'm going to tap out. And it's been a real pleasure, and I'll catch you in the week on a video or something like that. I know I've got this Mushies video to watch yet.
Yeah.
We watch that in about an hour when I need to settle and go to sleep.
Not Shark. I appreciate you being on, and thanks for giving up your. I'll send the check on to Matthews, and he can send it up with the stickers.
Yeah, what Nick? What was you saying?
No, just what I want to know. Do you know, with you not having much room in your shed, how are you going to get your Zimmer frame in there in your later years?
Well, the thing is, I've already had a Zimmer frame. I went, that's aluminium.
Scrapped it out. He scrapped it out and he crawled.
Scrapped it
out. Snobby, thanks for that. Snobby said he'd be in the chat there. I appreciate Snobby giving up his time coming up tonight. It was a good chat with him. Very interesting guy. I'll be only on for another 7 minutes, Matthews. Don't worry. Just stick it out for 7 minutes, will you? For God's sake.
Cowboy time.
Just stick it out for 7 minutes. I'm always doing the 2-hour show. God above. Even an old git like you can last that long.
I've been editing all evening. The final update.
The final part on this pot plant holder.
Well, yeah, it's not really about making that. I mean, the video was trying to say, look, you can do something if you want to do, even if you're outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Carry on and do it. You know, do it for yourself.
Just to see, can you do it? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I could have taken this whole hour and a half video and just compressed it into, you know, chop piece of wood, nail together, job done. It doesn't really. It becomes just like a director movie then, doesn't it?
Yeah. It just becomes, I don't know, something that you don't get any information out, or you don't see how it's really done. It's only a bit of it, and you don't get the full understanding of it. The effort that went into it.
Yeah, the struggle.
The struggle, as you said.
Especially tonight when I tried to do a mitre, make a picture frame.
And tell me, can you explain why you had your Christmas jumper on?
Yes, I will explain. Obviously, scrapping.
It's the only clothes he's got because he scrapped his washing machine out.
No, our type of scrapping is dirty. Sharks isn't. You know, people who do e-waste it. But my type of scrapping is dirty. So what I tend to do is I'll buy a cheap T-shirt, maybe from the second-hand shop. Okay, probably 99p or 50p, and I will wear that shirt until it doesn't. I won't wash it. I'll just wear that shirt and then use it as a rag and get rid of it. So that's, I don't want to cause.
So what you're telling me now is you're down to your Christmas clothes now.
I picked it up somewhere along the line.
I was looking, I said, is that a Christmas jumper he's on? And then
actually, that one, a guy called Adelino de Gama sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
Along with some Bock beer.
Oh yeah, that's what was on it. Yeah, the name Bock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing about a lot of our T-shirts is we tend to have stains on the belly part of our T-shirts.
I wonder what that reason for that is.
Well, my reason is because I've not got one of them circular parts cut in my desk.
So you could slide in, yeah. A scrap man is showing off his lovely clean top there.
So that's what I tend to wear a shirt until it's dirty, and then just use it a rag and to put another clean one on for another week.
Yeah. I've noticed Shark must be out out of prison fully now. He doesn't wear his yellow or his orange suit anymore.
I've shamed him.
It's in the wash. The one of the challenges that we run into here, in the South, is you can go outside, and even if your T-shirt doesn't get dirty, within an hour or two, it's soaking and wet from all the sweat. Yeah,
humidity down there is high.
Yeah, so I find that I tend to go through a couple of T-shirts a day when I'm scrapping, because it just gets it's so wet after a while. I've got to change it out for some. That's just something weird.
Romantic is gone. Sorry, I missed him going there. Bye to Romantic. Thanks again for the €5 super chat he left, or $5 super chat he left me. I appreciate it, but
I'll catch you later.
Already, you don't have to be doing that, Ro.
Later on, Ro. Talk to you later, man.
More than what I want.
Raphael's put a question in there. He's not seen Adelino for a while. Well, he changed his name and become something like De Gama DIY.
Okay.
So
Nick has popped off as well. Nick, thanks for being here.
Nick, bye, Nick. So
Nick done an Ian Matthews, but I didn't have to make anyone big to do it. He just had enough. He goes, I'm sick of these guys. I'm out of here. Tin Man is in. Tin Man, thanks for coming in.
No, I was watching Tin Man this morning. Stripping a TV.
You were watching it this morning, but were you meant to be at work doing work this morning when you were watching them?
Well, you know about work at the moment, so I've got time.
Yes, we'll leave that conversation for later.
Well, I mean, today we actually said to the lads, "We've no work for you. What do you want to do? Stay here or go home?" And some decided to go home.
Yeah, it's strange times at the moment in a lot of places for work, because it's companies are having to make big decisions, aren't they? Which will affect a lot of people's lives for the next couple of years.
Tin Man, I'm going to show you something. Right, okay. So he stripped a TV and showed like the gold fingers on the LED boards and things like that. But what I tend to keep, I keep it all.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I do like to keep the the perspex that comes out the TV.
And what's your plan for that?
It'll come in handy sometime.
You were going to say that.
What they're gonna put those over top of your casket, Ian?
They're gonna have an open casket, and they're just gonna put that over so no one spits in on top of them.
I'm gonna show you something now here. Okay.
Ian's gonna be in this casket with the plate glass over top of him from the TV, so we can all rest our beers on top of them.
It's to make sure no one spits in on top of them.
So what you got to say is, all I can say is, focus. Like they're not eating anything, are they?
No, you've slid them in nicely there. What's he looking at now?
It's a Christmas hat.
It's Christmas.
Oh.
Christmas is coming.
It is.
So make sure you know where it's at.
Right, guys. Well, I've gone exactly to my 10 o'clock, which is 5 o'clock in, I think, Florida. And I don't know what time it is in Georgia.
I'll tell you what time it is here, bedtime.
Yeah, well, 5 as well. So
I'm not ready for bed. Straight out of here, straight in bed.
I'm just going to say straight up what I normally say is, has anyone got any videos coming out this week they want to tell anyone about? So I'll start with Scrapman50. Have you any video coming out this week, Scrapman? No? Okay. Shark, what's your video schedule this week?
Yeah, we'll have a video out on Wednesday and then another one on Friday. That's my usual schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Although I am thinking I might cut back to twice a week. I'm giving some thought to that.
Okay.
But right now, expect one on Wednesday and Friday.
Perfect. And what about Mr. Matthews? When can we expect the next part of the trilogy?
In about 25 minutes.
Okay. So when he's in bed, he'll be snuggled up and he'll put it up there.
I'll leave it late for people like Ali Mack. It helps them to drop off to sleep. You know?
To get some sleep. My video will be out Thursday. I think I'm just going to do a scrap out video this time because my gold ones, I'm giving it a rest for a while to let people, because I've been doing gold recovery ones for months now, so I'll do a scrap out that I haven't done in a while. That'll be my video. So what I want to do is thank everyone that took their time to come up on the panel. I appreciate it, guys. Everyone that came into the chat, I really appreciate you giving up your time. Until Friday or Thursday, have a look for my video Thursday, 6 p.m. GMT, which would be 12 in the afternoon in Eastern time. So I expect you all to be thumbing it up and telling me it's the best video you ever watched, ever. Any negative comments? I don't know. I don't want them. I know Matthew put up a negative one now just to annoy me.
I'm looking at it. I mean, how many have you pulled up? I mean, you got 8 thumbs down tonight. You know,
Oh my God. I really pushed it out tonight, didn't I? Someone got really upset with me tonight. I usually only have 2, so I'm blaming Snobby for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check and see how many subscribers I've lost because I was up here.
The thumbs down doesn't bother me, to be honest. I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to be getting up for work in the morning. I'm still going to work. I'll be still getting my wage. I'm more than likely the ones that give the thumbs down are down in their mother's basement having a little play with it. So at the end of the day, they're the sad ones.
There you go.
So I'm signing off on that. So
good night, Ian.
I appreciate it, and
later, guys.
Catch you all on the next one.
Always a pleasure to be on.